Okay, so I just want to talk about what we did yesterday. We talk about the cal editor, and the cal editor is for the code unit. It opens directly when I press design. Okay, and for other objects it will be like you need to go to design and then view cal code, or the shortcut is F9. Okay, and also we talked about the triggers. So you can see the triggers have the gray area. Okay, this gray bar. So you can easily differentiate between the normal code line and the triggers. Okay, then we talk about simple data types. Simple data types basically which have only one value. And in the simple data types we talk about numeric data types, which are integer, big integer, decimal, option, and character. And integer, decimal, these are all right, but option is a special type of integer which can be for which we can define a word. Okay, and character. One thing about character, yesterday we talked about I told you that 65 is the ASCII value for capital A. So I'm just opening a ASCII table. So you can see 65 is for A. Okay, so similarly you can try with other characters. You can get it from the ASCII table. Okay, just try. This is just for your exercise. Just try with few more ASCII values and try to check the ASCII value by using message function. Okay, and we talked about string data types, and also we talked about boolean data type. Okay, string and boolean are simple, like string is code or text. Okay, and boolean will return true or false based on certain condition. Then we talked about date and time. Date and time, I told you that date. Okay, one thing I just want to tell you about the date. I will just run some table. Suppose, for example, I will run table 17. You see the date. So whenever you test any date example, you need to write a correct date format. You can see the date is like month, date, and year. So you need, if you want to test some date example, you need to write date in this format. 12 13. If you write it 31 12 2013, you may get a error, runtime error. Okay, not a compilation error but runtime error. And if you remember, I told for any date, yeah, C is actually it's a closing date. If there is any closing date, suppose I run something for a period of a month, like 1st of August to 30 of August, 31st of August, and I write some code like fetch the closing date, it will show 31st as the closing date. Okay, if you want to understand, let's this is not in the lab, but I'll just try to explain one thing. Suppose I will create a page based on date table. Date table is not, you will not find a date table here. It's a backend table. Okay, so you will not find it. This is in the Windows. So if I create a base a table date, and I'll create a list, and I'll finish it. if you run this, you will see how the dates are saved in the system. Okay, so you can see everything about the date table, like it will calculate the period type, period name. You can filter, even you, if you see the period type, it will filter on all dates. You can see it is 3 4 5 6, something like that. As I told you yesterday in Navision, the date starts from 0001, and it should be from with 9999 31st December. Okay, similarly if I check with week, it will filter according to the weeks. Okay, similarly with the year, quarter. Okay, so this is the like when you start developing or calculating some dates, you need to use the date table to fetch which week number belongs to this date, something like that. Okay, so closing date is basically the month last date. Okay, and if this is all about date, but whenever you write something about the date, as I told you, suppose it, if you do not define d at the end, it will give you compilation error, because it will treat it as an integer. Similarly for the time, you need to add t at the end. Okay, and there is one more thing related to date and time. There is one more type, which is date time. So I will take a variable of type date time, and I will message, just to show you what is the value date time contains. So if you want to see what is system printing for today, okay, and these are system defined variables, this today, or if I write current date time. So date is 26th, the same format. Okay, and by mistake I used parameter 2, while if you see it is mentioned on the first place, so I should change it with 1. It is not refresh system. See, the date time is this, it will give you date with the time. So while developing the application, you may need to calculate the date time or something like that. You need to use this current date time system defined variable. Okay, then someone of you asked about the this subtype, and I told you that if I want to use some table, suppose customer table, then I need a complex data type, which is a record. There are many complex data type, but most important is this record. So then if I select the table number 18, which is a customer. Okay, so complex data type are like variables have single value. But if I take record, it means the whole record. Record, I mean, record means this whole record, which means it consists of all the fields of the table. Okay, so suppose in coding you want to print customer this name and everything, you need to use the record. Okay, so if you see, I told you yesterday about the if you go to view symbol menu, you will find all the variables or identifiers mentioned, which you write here. You will find everything available there. If you go to customer, you can see, you will find all the fields. So this is one of the most important complex data type. Okay, and okay, this is about the record variable. If you see, if I'll create one new table. Okay, just for showing you something. So when I create a new table, I open the cal code. I'm using shortcut now, F9. And if I press F5, F5 is a shortcut for symbol menu. So if I click F5, you can see it automatically creates a variable of record. Got my point? So it's easier to get fetch the values of a record. Like if you want to assign something to name or number or address, you can directly fetch it like this. And one more thing I want to say again, that number has a dot, that's why it has taken this. Okay, similarly, this is about this is just I told you about that if you create a table, you will automatically get rec. Okay, which belongs to the all the fields of the table. Similarly, we have some more important complex types. Page. So suppose I take page 1, and if I go to symbol menu and see page 1, it will show all the controls available on that page. Okay, so this is for this is not part of this training session, but maybe in next session in solution development it might be useful with the examples. Okay, this is just I'm showing the complex data type. Similarly, if you take code unit, and open the symbol menu, you will find all the functions are created in the code unit. Okay, so these are the most important complex data types. There is no lab available for right now for this, but that's all about the complex data types. Then we discussed about the variable names. I said it will be good if we do not use the space in between, otherwise it will take double quote in the start and end. So this is not a good practice of using any special character or space in between the variable name. Okay, okay, there are some reserve word. Right now you do not know, but there are some reserved words in the system, like begin, and you can see it's on blue color. So if you mention any variable name with begin, you will get a compilation error. I should give actually. See, you can see you should not use the reserve words as the name of the identifiers or variables. Okay. So if you write something and it turns to blue, it says that it's a reserve word. So you cannot use it as a name of a variable. So this is about the nomenclature of the variables. Similarly, if you suppose you will take test2 again of a type integer, so it should not allow it, because you cannot define two variables of same name. Okay. uh, okay, if you remember yesterday I told about the variable scope, and I said if I declare any variable in this window, it means in the if I define any variable view and globals, and I defined any value, then it means it's a global variable and it is available throughout this object. Okay, so if I use it suppose right now I'm using it in run. If I create some function, I need to delete this. I created a new function and I can use the test2 variable and see whether it gives compilation or error or it's all right. So you can see without means if it's a global variable, I can use it anywhere in the object. But now I will declare some local variable. So like we open globals and it opens the system variables. If I go to view and locals, it will open the local variable for that function. Okay, so if I use this, and I compile it, it's all right. But if I use it, this is the difference between local variable scope and global variable scope. If I use it here, you will get an error that you have defined an unknown variable. Okay, so you have to be make sure that you should declare the variable global only if you are going to use it in entire object. Otherwise, if this is related to only the only to certain functionality, you should define it as a local variable. Okay. Okay, and yesterday we talked about the variables initial value. So in Navision, in Cal programming, we need not to initialize the values of any variable, because we have printed some messages yesterday with the values, like with the boolean it was returning false, for the integer it was returning 0. So whenever I create a variable, I need not to initialize it like integer variable with 0, because it is automatically having the initial value. Then we talked about assignment statements. So I told you that assignment, this is the assignment operator. And also we talked about the statement separator. Like if I define multiple lines of code, I need to end the line with this semicolon, otherwise the compilation error will come. Okay. mm. Then yesterday we talked about we talked about only the normal assignments, not about the expressions. Okay, so I will tell you what I mean by expression. So yesterday we just assigned text by text value in single quotes, but we have not mentioned any expression. Okay, So first of all, if I assign any value, like this is a text, I'll take a integer example. And I will assign something like this. So this is an expression. So it should calculate the value and print. For printing, we already have a function call statement, message. Okay. So this is the normal integer plus some operator which I have used. So there are many available operators. So what I mean to say, like this is an integer and I should add the integer, but if I take a text, you will get error. So the expression, the result of a expression should be evaluated of the same type as the variable. Otherwise, this will cause the compilation error. Okay. So like if I similarly, I have a text. If I assign an integer to a text, you'll get an error. Similarly, if you assign some text to the boolean, you will get the compilation error. Okay. So compilation error, yesterday we talked about the runtime error, and we took one example when I took some text of size 30, but I tried to assign a size of 50. For example, we'll take again the same example. I'll take two text variables. This of size 10. So you can see I have assigned more than 10 characters, and this is not a compilation error, but when you try to run it, you will get a runtime error. So whenever we assign any value to a text field, we should check the size of the string, so that it should not be greater than the size of the string. Okay, so we have some system defined functions for that. So whenever we try to whenever we try to assign a value to some text variable or a field of type text, we should be aware of the size of the field. Okay, so I'll take one example to show like how we can check the length of the string. So I have size 10. Okay, uh, we have a system function which is max. Okay, I'll go to symbol menu and I will talk about the few system functions. Okay, if you go to symbol menu, you will find system, and in system if you go to string, you will find this many string functions available in the system. So to to fetch the length of a string, I can use max string length. Okay, so what I will do, I will print a message to get the max string length. So I will just create a message and I will pick this max string length. Also, if you see any system function, you will find on the bottom of the window, you will find what thing you need to pass to this function. So it needs a string. So for us, string is text1. Okay, so for me, I set it to 10. If I run it, yeah, hello, hello, any, nothing? Okay. So I just want to check the size of the string. So if I run it, it should return 10. Okay, so I need to check the, whenever I assign some string to a text variable, I should check whether I'm not assigning the greater value to that. So okay, this is one example, like how to get the length of a variable. But I also now one more thing I want to check. This is about the string length of a variable. Same you can use for the fields, like for customer table, you want to check the size of the address field, you can use the max string length. But now I want to know the length of this string. So if you check in system, you will find string length function. So if I write a string length, so if you check, this is of size 7 or 8, it should return 8. Okay, so this is about uh, getting the size of a string and also getting the size of a variable or a field. So now this is all right. Now we know about two functions. Then I already have two functions, test1 and test2. Okay, now I will assign 20 characters to text2 and will assign those fields, those values to text1. And let's see if I suppose suppose I assign should not be more than 20. Okay, and if I assign you will get error. Okay, so to get the correct value, like the size of the string, there is one more function of a string. If you go to system string, you will find copy string. And copy string, if you see the parameters of this function, it says string. String, it means from which string you want to copy the value. Then comes the position. Position means from which position you want to copy. And length means for how big, like for what size you want to copy. Okay, so we'll take one example. I will use copy string. So I want to copy from which string? Text2. And I want to copy from first position. And I want to copy only the size of text1. So for that, I need to write max string length of text1. Okay, now I'll run the code unit. It is not refresh seems. I should not assign it like this. I should comment this line. This line was giving the error. So I have text 2 of this size, but I want to copy from first position to the size of the text 1. Just press F5 to refresh the window. It was not refreshed earlier. So you can see only 10 characters are copied. Okay. So similarly in in the solution, if I want to copy some text of one table to another table, I should check the size of the fields. Otherwise, you will get the runtime error if I assign one table field to another table field. So the size of the field should be the same. If it is not same, or always I should use the copy string. Right now we checked with position 1, but suppose now I want to check from position 3 or 4 suppose. So you can see it should start from B. Okay, so this is about the copy string. So by using copy string, we can prevent from the overflow error. Okay, so I just want to give you one exercise. I want you to try all the string functions, and if you guys find any problem with this, just drop me an email. Try among yourselves, and then write me an email. Also just use all the functions in the message function. Okay, and you don't know what is this string position mean, you need to select this and press F1 to open the help. So with the help you will get the examples also. So try to understand what the string functions mean. Okay, so this is an exercise for you. Okay, this is not part of the lab, but you can try with all these functions except this first one. First and this. Leave these two and try with others. Is this okay? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah, actually I get your response after a minute. So I thought maybe it got disconnected. So you guys have to try all the functions of a string except these two, first and this. And you can take help of you can understand it by pressing F1. It will open the help for this. Okay, so try all. Okay, so I want to give you some more exercises for numeric. Try these two. Okay, and maybe this is a bit difficult for you, but read the help and try these two. Okay, see, absolute means this is absolute. It means like if you have something with the decimal, it will return the absolute value of it. Okay, just read the help file and try. Otherwise there are examples, proper examples. Okay. Okay, and for the date, I told you if you print today, it will print today's date. Try to print with time. Okay, you will get current time. And also try an example with current date time. Okay, try to print it. And also try to assign some dates to the date variable and try to print it to check whether you are getting correct date format or not. Okay, so this is all about the string expressions. Let's talk about some numeric expressions. This is all from the PDF 5. So you will get all the examples, and you can just go through it. And if you have any doubts, just drop me an email. I'm trying to cover all the topics, but if something you you get stuck somewhere, just write me an email. So this is, we talked about the string assignments, string expressions like we tried using text 1 equals to text 2, or we can and also we use the copy string. So now I just want to talk about the numeric expressions. Okay, one more thing. In the PDF, you will find like what is expression called. So you can see they have given this as example. So this is expression, while function x and 7 are called the terms. Okay, and this is a operator. Plus and multiply is a operator. And you know, string operator. I told you that. Okay, we will take one example here. So if you use plus between the strings, it will be entirely different than the numeric addition sign. It will, what it will do, it will concatenate the string. Okay, so this is a binary, actually this plus sign is a binary operator, whether it's a text we are using in string expression, or we are using in numeric. So it's a binary operator. Binary, I mean we need left and right values. So this this is an example of the operators. Okay, so you will find some unary operators, which is like if we talk about uh, if I'm using the arithmetic operators and I use plus something like this, you can see this line. If I write this, then this we need not to write plus for any numeric value, because it is by default 1. But this minus means the minus unary operator, and unary operator always have the highest precedence. Okay, so this is unary operator. String operator, we have only one plus, which is used for concatenation. Okay, we have 6 arithmetic operators: plus, minus, multiplication, divide. You all are aware of it. Divide mode, I'll give you one example. First of all, div is also similar to divide, but if I suppose I divide 5 by 10, or suppose I'll take one decimal. So you can see 1.5. This is a normal divide, but if I use div, you will always get integer value, not the decimal value. So you need to write like this, and it turned to blue. It shows it's a system reserved word. Now if you run it, you got 1. You understood something? Like it will return the total division value. Like it will not show the decimal values, and it will, like, if you take suppose in the example there is 17 by 8, so it will return 1. Let's see. It returned 2 because if you divide by 8, 16, so it is 2. Are you okay with the div arithmetic operator? Okay. Then there is one more, which is mod, which is also called as a remainder operator, and I'll take the same example. Okay, what should it return? Any one of you can guess? It will return the remainder value. Any guesses? It will return the remainder value. So if you divide 17 by 8, the remainder value is 1. So it should return 1. Okay. Similarly, if you divide it by 9, it will return 8. Okay. So this is about div and mod, all the arithmetic operators. Now I just want to tell you about uh, one runtime error. Like whenever you divide anything, it should not be 0. I'll show you how. I mean, whether I use any values, and if I run it by 0, so this is a ERP solution, and we should not get errors like this. So in the solution, if you develop some function, and wherever you divide, so you should check the value by which you are dividing should not be equivalent to 0. Okay, you will not directly divide by 0, but there can be case when suppose you have like this, something like this: 15 minus 10 minus 5. Okay, so like in application, it will be like you will calculate some value by some expression. It will not be hard coded as 15, 10 or 5, but suppose whatever you are trying return 0 value, you will get a runtime error. Okay, so to get rid of it, we will use some conditional statements tomorrow, but just to show, I'll just write a line. Maybe I'll forget it tomorrow. So whenever you divide by anything, you need to check. Okay, I'll explain how this if statement works, but we need to check If it is not 0, then only it should divide. And it will not return any error. Okay, so whenever you perform any divide, this value should be checked. Okay. So we talked about this unary operator, string operator, and arithmetic operators. And whatever the operator we are using, suppose we are doing some arithmetic operations, we have to take care of the precedence. And in normal words, the precedence should be, this also follow the BODMAS rule. Okay, so I know you are aware of, I hope you all are aware of what is this BODMAS. Like B for bracket, suppose just tell me what this will return, what it will return the value. Yeah, so this is what I mean, it will follow the BODMAS rule. Okay, so bracket will come first and then divide and then multiplication. Okay, so this is the preference. These are the relational operators. Okay, so if you see first one, this is less than, then greater than, this is equal to, then less than equal to, greater than equal to, and not equal to. So what I want you, one exercise for you, you just you just declare some variables, like suppose amount 1 and amount 2, and compare those values and check what it prints. One example I'll type. Amount, amount and amount 2. Okay, let's see what it returns. It will return false because amount is not greater than amount 2. Okay, so just try with some examples with the relational operators. Yeah, yeah. This is not case sensitive. See, see, it is not case sensitive. So you should define the variable unique. Okay, but whatever you will like write, it will take that. Like you have, if you write, suppose you write and save it. I think I have not removed that. Like you wrote this amount equals to and you save, nothing will happen. But if you open it again, it will take whatever you have declared. It will not take that caps value. This is also one check. Okay, so I asked you to check this relational operators. Okay, there is one relational operator in, which I will explain now. Actually, what happens when I check this greater than equal to, or greater than equal to, less than equal to, or not equal to, I compare two values. Okay, but if I have I want to suppose I want to find a value from certain values. Okay, I need to use in. We'll take one example, then it will be I'll take the one example from the lab. Okay. So if I use in, it means I want to check whether this 5 belongs to this set, like either of any value. So for this, for using in, I need this bracket and the values differentiated by commas. Okay, so if I print this, it will return false because 5 do not belong to this group, this set. Okay, let's see. It said no, but I want to check that 5 also. If I want to give a range, I should give like this dot dot. Now it should return true because 5 comes in between 4 and 6. Yes, is returned. So when you want to find the values in certain set, because if you think about in the application scenario, you sometimes you need to check that the value your expression is returning, if it belongs with this, it should be assigned to some field, otherwise not. So for comparing many values, this in is used. Okay. So we already talk about relational operators, which is like I already asked you to check by writing messages. Then string comparison. This is a case sensitive case. If you check x equal to x, it will return true. But if you check x equals to small x, if you print this in message, just print this all in message. Okay, and check the result. So it follows the alphabetical order. The precedence will be in alphabetical order. This k is greater than c, so that's why it is returning true. So just check some relational expressions. Relation, and then there are also some logical operators. We have 4 logical operators: not, or, and XOR. So we can check this table. I'll just try to explain. We will take with or. If you check, if I check true with true, you got my point. I'll take some example. I'll first print it and then okay. So I wrote a OR case. So I just want to check 5 minus 2 is 3, which is greater than equal to 3. And if you see the result of this, it will say 4 minus 2 equals to 2 greater than equal to 3. This becomes false. So if you run this, this statement will return true. Just try to understand. I'll just print it first. it returned yes, because or means either this or this. If any one is true, it will return true. Okay, so in the table you can see if true and true, then it will return true. If true and false, one is true, it will return true. If one is false and one is true, it will return true. And if both are false, it will return false. And is opposite. If both are true, it will only return true. So if you write and here, it will return false, because both the statements are not true. It see no. Okay, so these are logical operators. You just try to understand this table. If anything not skip for now, maybe I'll take some conditional statements tomorrow, and XOR is not much used, so just focus on and, or, and not I will take with some example with conditional statements tomorrow. So this is about logical operators. So one more exercise for you, try the logical operators. Now we talked about so many things, but we are dealing only with the message functions. So now I am taking one example of the lab only. What I will do, I will create a page with two fields, two decimal fields, and we'll see what the result comes. Okay, so what we will do, we will create a new page without any table, and I'll declare few values of type decimal. I hope you know what is this group. General means, so I'll pick input 1. For picking this also, if I press F6 or this assist edit, I will find those variables. So I selected this and this in general. Inside general, uh, uh, they have one more tab. I will insert one more line, one more group, input. This should be indented under, then another group, this should not be indented. I hope you know about these tabs. And result. You can see I took this tab input, which means these two fields will come under input and one will come under output. And I have not you can see the names because there was no caption mentioned, that's why it is coming blank. Okay, so now if I enter some value to this, I want some output. Okay, so I will add some action. And we know the triggers, like when I press execute, it means on action of execute I need to write something to get the result, value in result control. So I need to press F9 or view and calcode. Actually I am very much used to of shortcuts so it takes time. So execute, and if I write result, I will not take decimal integer. I will take result as a boolean. I want to see, I will check the greater or smaller values. So if I result, I assign a expression here, like if input 1 greater than input 2. So it will always be true when input 1 is greater than input 2. So run the page. This is a boolean variable, so this is small checkbox. If I take this and press execute, it says yes, it is true. But if I take opposite and execute, it becomes false because 1 is not greater than 10. Okay, so you can try with many relational operators by using them on some page, like calculating sum. So this is from the lab, but I want you to create one new page which will have input 1 as a decimal, input 2 as a decimal, and result also as a decimal. Okay, so are you getting me? Okay, so I want a page which has 3 decimal fields, input 1, input 2, and result. All 3 are decimal, and I want to see if I want to sum this, the result field should be updated with 11. Okay, so create a page, and you know the triggers. If I type in this, the on validate trigger will fire. Okay, so on validate trigger, you need to write a code, like if you all the fields or variables have triggers like on validate. I can show you, like you got high, it means on validate trigger is fired. So when I just want that result, you know now how the on validate trigger fire, so you need to write sum there. So I just want to calculate this value so that I need not to click on action. Whenever I enter 1 and I enter 10 and press enter, it should be updated with 11. Okay, this is lab 1. Then one more case I want to one more lab 2. This is on basis of variable fields, but second lab I want you to create a new table with 3 fields, input 1, input 2, and result. Okay, and fetch the value 11 by using table, not using local variables. And if you create a table, you have to take care of the primary key. Just think about it, like if you create a new record, it should be of type code or something like that. You know the table primary keys. Hello, I want a list page because I want you to insert the records. I want a list page where you have a primary key, suppose of type code, and if you start entering records like A, B, C, D, then you will enter input 1, input 2, it should calculate the sum. So I want to test it, one with the variables, another lab with the table. Okay, and also I want you to test one thing. When you create a page, like I wrote message, write message on both. Suppose you created this page from some table, not with the variables. Okay, suppose this is from the table, you will write validate here. Also write validate on the table field. Oh, you know what I mean? In table you have fields. These fields also have the validate triggers. So tomorrow I am going to ask you the first question, which trigger will fire first, whether it's a page trigger or it's a table trigger. Okay, so 2 exercises and some more test cases. Is this all right? Okay, and this is the PDF. I hope you have these all the I hope you have all these 4 PDFs. Just let me know if you don't have any. You have? Okay. So in my session, actually, it only shows these 3, but I'm going to cover this 7th also. So I hope I will cover 6 tomorrow and 7 day after tomorrow. Okay. So right now, the operators which we have used, we are going to use with the conditional statements or compound statements or the repetitive statements. Conditional are like, for example, if else. Okay, and repetitive are repeat until and for loops. So that part we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay, so that's all from my side. Just tell me if you have any queries. Okay, so just try with the string, those 2 exercises with the string functions. So as I told you, I want you you all to try string all functions except this and this. So just write some whatever number, thus this many message windows using these cases. Okay, maybe not tomorrow because maybe it will be you don't have that much time, but this is an exercise. Whenever you are free, I want to see these these all the use of all these. Okay, because we use most of the string functions. Okay, and or numeric, just try with the round and abs. Round is bit, maybe you will not understand at first instance. Just let me know. I'll create an example and explain if you don't understand the rounding. Okay, so so most important thing for today's session is like uh, string functions and also the division by 0 error. Like whenever you divide anything in the application, it should not be divided by 0. You have to take care of that. Okay, one thing about the message function I want to tell. Actually, if you write 10 message windows, so you think that it will run one message window and calculate another assignment later? Like it will be like first message it will calculate and print, then second message it will calculate and print. It's not like that. Actually, all the message functions will be executed all together. It will be stored in the queue before the display. Okay, so processing is completed before displaying, because if you see, if you run many messages, you will you continuously need to press OK button. It won't stop the system. So if you write 10 message windows, all our expressions executed first and then those are printed. Okay, that's all. I have almost covered everything from chapter 5. There are many labs, you can try those and email me if you have any queries. Okay, I will message. Okay, this is my email ID. Anything else? Okay, then that's all for today. We will talk about the conditional, repetitive and compound statements tomorrow. Okay, and pardon. Okay, then have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.